gentlemen, my name is Tendai Mavengeni. The next and last song that I'm going to give to you is called Wondo.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Please give a round of applause to Tendai Mavengeni. Wonderful, wonderful music right there. A piece of music from Tendai Mavengeni. As we are safeguarding our cultural heritage, identity, and celebrating diversity. At this juncture, please allow me to call upon our board vice chair for the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe, Mr. Marcus Gora, a seasoned administrator in the arts industry locally and internationally, as he comes to give us the welcoming remarks. Please just give him a round of applause as he comes through. Mr. Marcus Gora.
Good morning, everyone. I think another round of applause for the band, please. I think it's really beautiful to see that our traditional music is safe in the hands of young women who can play excellently. And it makes us really proud to be able to show these new voices at a stage like this. Thank you. My name is Marcus Gora. My duty today is to stand in on behalf of my board chair, Dr. Nozipo Maraire, who could not be with us today, and deliver these welcome remarks today. First, I would like to acknowledge the Minister of Youth, Sports, Arts and Recreation, Honorable Dr. Kirsty Coventry, amongst us. Her Deputy Minister, Honorable Tino Machagaire. The Regional Director and Representative of UNESCO, UNESCO Rosa, Dr. Lydia Arthur Burrito, represented here by Francesco Gomez. The Head of Delegation of the European Commission, Mr. Timo Olkanen. The Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Arts and Recreation, Dr. Toko Chitepo. The Director, Arts, Culture Promotion and Development, Dr. Biggie Samwanda. The Director of the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe, Mr. Nicholas Moyo and his staff. My colleagues, National Arts Council board members present. Artists and cultural practitioners here present. Members of the media fraternity, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all. I would like to welcome you all to this historic launch of the Zimbabwe Music Strategy, spearheaded by the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe. The occasion marks the conclusion of a 2-year project called Strategy for the Sustainable Development of Culture, Rural and Creative Industries, CCIs, in Zimbabwe, run by the NACZ with the support of the European Union, UNESCO Expert Facility on the Governance of Culture and in developing countries. The launch of this strategy comes at a time when there is evidence produced through the situational analysis, which undertook a rapid diagnosis of the current situation in the music sector under this project, which found that there has been strong growth in the number of musicians, both male and female, in the past decades. Technology has made music production very affordable, and a wider pool of talent now has access in the music market. The strategy has thus a good starting point and should provide a strategic compass for the expansion and development of the country's music industry. We are grateful to the funding partners who made the program a success, even under the trying COVID-19 challenges witnessed during the period. The support not only enabled NACZ to produce the final document we are gathered here to launch today, but provided the NACZ and stakeholders in the music industry an opportunity to learn from peers in the region and the music experts seconded to the program. The vision for the Arts Council is to have different cultural and creative industry sector strategies created in the mold of the National Cultural and Creative Industries Strategy. The expertise obtained from this project will now be very useful as the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe begins to craft other strategies for the sector. I am pleased that the development of the music strategy now is a benchmark for the creation of other sector strategies. It is the desire of the new board to see value and returns created around the arts in this country. The National Arts Council Board envisages that the different sector strategies shall become the building blocks to increase the contribution by the CCIs to the GDP. There are numerous projects that we will in due course be announcing, as we will give the needed impetus to the arts and artists alike. I would also like to thank partners from South Africa and Nigeria who allowed us to learn from their experiences through the peer-to-peer meetings. The insights received from these virtual and physical meetings with music sector players in those countries contributed immensely to the interventions mentioned in the strategy. I want to also thank the national team that worked on the draft, comprising sector players, the NACZ staff, for their time and effort. And I would like to emphatically thank in the music sector, players in the music sector for their participation in the crafting of the strategy and call upon them to be at the forefront of its implementation. I would also like to thank the Minister for giving leadership in this work and accepting our invitation to officiate this event. My call to the music sector is to take ownership of the strategy and to make it a living document. I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, one more time, please, let's give a round of applause to our Vice Chair for the Board of the National Arts Council, Mr. Marcus Gora. Right, at this juncture, please allow me to call upon to tell us about the background to the strategy process. The Director for the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe, with over 26 years of experience in arts administration, Mr. Nicholas Moyo. Please let's give him a round of applause as he makes his way to the podium. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Youth, Sport, Arts and Recreation, Dr. Thank you for gracing this great and momentous occasion for the sector. The Deputy Minister in the Ministry of Youth, Sport, Arts and Recreation, Honorable Tino Achakayebe, thank you so much, DM, for taking time to be part of this historic thing here in this country. The Chairperson of the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe, the board, and the deputy, Marcus Gora, other board members, director in the ministry, Dr. Samwanda, the management team in the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe, the regional director for Southern Africa, UNESCO, here represented by Francis Gomez, and one of our team players and supporter from UNESCO, Rodney, we acknowledge. The representative from the European Union, we acknowledge your presence representing the EU ambassador. Various promoters, musicians, stakeholders, also representing the various other ministries that are here. I thank you for taking time to join us this morning. My role is just to take you through the journey that gave birth to the music strategy. Yes, when the director of ceremony talks about 2 years, some of the challenges, Honorable Minister, have been the issues of COVID. However, we still pushed and sailed through. And I'm also very happy, I was sharing with the DM, Deputy Minister outside, that we have already started, Honorable Minister, the process to do a film strategy. The first meeting was held on the 26th of May, so we are not stopping, we are moving on. The music strategy, we've decided as a team to make it a 5-year strategy. Short time, because we want to ensure that whatever issues are contained there, we work towards 90–95% of their implementation in order to have on a running and a rolling phase going beyond 5 years. The creation of the music strategy was not done by National Arts Council. It was done by a team, a national team that composed music stakeholders drawn from various provinces in this country. The development of this music strategy was undertaken with the support from EU and UNESCO expert facility, and it's taking place, I think, in 12 different countries. And Zimbabwe was one of the fortunate countries to be part of that process, coming under support for new regulatory framework to strengthen the cultural and creative industries, as well as promote the South-to-South cooperation. The statement by our board chair clarified quite a number of issues there. The project title was Strategy for the Sustainable Development of CCIs in Zimbabwe, and our focus was music. The EU UNESCO expert facility has a number of experts in it, and for our project, a lady, an expert from Burkina Faso by the name Yari Kamara, was seconded to Zimbabwe to help us and train the national team to develop the strategy, together with the local expert, Farai Mfunya. Yari came to Zimbabwe, I think 3 times, went around the country, held workshops online to ensure that the skills that she was imparting on the Zimbabwean team. Also, part of the South-to-South cooperation and exchange meant we employ what is called the peer-to-peer learning. We selected countries that we're working with and exchanged with. We selected 3 countries, South Korea, Nigeria, and South Africa. But due to COVID challenges, we're able to do good exchange with Nigeria, which was online, as well with South Africa, again online, and also physical. What are our references? The National Arts and Culture Heritage Policy, which was launched by His Excellency in Bulawayo in November, December 2019. It's a very critical document which we are drawing from as reference, as well as the culture and creative industry strategy, which was launched by the Minister, Honorable Kirst Coventry, 2020. As well as the NDS1, it's very critical because it brings the creative and cultural industries in the center of development. You will agree, ladies and gentlemen, that previously issues to do with arts and culture were in the periphery. But in the NDS1, if you take a closer look, the creative industries are very core in the development of the economy of this country. Therefore, it's important for us to make reference to that. As well as the desire by His Excellency to build a society that is of upper middle income by 2030. Why these documents are important? Because we want to ensure that the creative sector, the music sector in particular, is industrialized to ensure that music practitioners and professionals alike also are measured and become part of the people that are in the middle income. What were the stages, ladies and gentlemen, for the formulation process? We started by identifying a team that we call the project team. So the first step was to capacitate it, to train them, and to ensure that we flow together. And that team has academics, promoters, musicians, managers, various other players and producers that are part of the team. We then conducted a situational analysis of the Zimbabwean second. It's a very interesting one. Ladies and gentlemen, I will invite you that when you look at the strategy, take your eyes and thoroughly look at the situational analysis. Very interesting results that are given there. And also that gives us a challenge as a sector that it's important that we take a look at the world around us in the digital environment. And say, for example, if we are looking at YouTube, if you don't read the terms and conditions, you'll be one of those people who's bitter all the way through. You can send your link to as many people and they can put their laptops on repeat so many times and you think only views will count. But if you don't have people that also subscribe to your page, you create challenges. So terms and conditions of some of these online platforms are very important because if you don't know them, then we move into these platforms and we start to complain later. So our situational analysis gave us a lot of insights in what knowledge gaps are there, especially in the Zimbabwean landscape for music. We also had to conduct case studies on specific issues after we picked out some issues from the situational analysis. Thereafter, we organized the peer-to-peer exchange with music stakeholders in Nigeria and South Africa. This is where we learned quite a lot of things, and we hope the music strategy, because it has captured that, it can allow us to move to the next level. After that, we conducted a nationwide consultative process. The team went to almost all the provinces of Zimbabwe, Honorable Minister, to ensure that there is not just a buy-in, but there is an understanding that this is a national project. It's not a government project. It's driven by government, but it has to be owned by the sector itself for it to be successful. After that, we then also held a validation workshop where people who were not part of the process came and looked at the draft music strategy, gave their comments. The national team went onto the drawing board, captured as many comments that had come through, and today we are here to present to you and allow the minister to launch the first sector strategy of its kind. It's going to leverage on the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe strategy for 2021 to 2025. SDG 8 on promoting sustained, inclusive and sustainable economic growth, which already is being shown in NDS 1, that the trajectory of the development of the economy of Zimbabwe is inclusive of the arts. Also, the National Culture and Creative Industry Strategy, which focuses a lot on SDG 12, on ensuring sustainable consumption and production patterns, as well as a deliberate effort on SDG 5, on gender equality. I think it was very important also to take note that the gender disparity in the sector is alarming. And the strategy wants also to address those issues. And I want to thank the team that was putting this launch together, that even our opening act was coming from a young female artist. Congratulations, Tendai, and well done. We have come up with a vision, Honorable Minister. And our vision for the music strategy is a vibrant, locally anchored, and internationally connected music industry that viable sustains artists and other professionals. Our desire, Honorable Minister, is to transform the music sector into an industry. And we are confident of the government support to ensure that the arts move away from being informal and become a formal industry. And it's one step at a time as we build together. Our mission is to contribute to the achievement of the National Cultural and Creative Industry Strategy by strengthening the music sector. The key objectives: supporting enabling environments throughout the music sector value chain for the music sector growth and development. Honorable Minister, it has been very interesting that in this country and many other perhaps developing countries, you find that there is no clear value chain in the music sector. A musician is a creator, so he writes, sings, becomes a producer of his own music, then becomes a distributor of their own music, and in some instances becomes a consumer of their own music. He takes 100 CDs and goes to church and distributes them to the elders and the deacons and the pastors for free, hoping that they will then buy. Next week, when they've enjoyed the music, they come and ask for 5 more CDs to give their friends. So the artist continuously so he funds these CDs to give people. And he can't then say, you know, I produced 500 CDs. And when you look at them, they still made nothing out of them. Why? Because we have had a value chain where an artist is everything. And we are saying it's important that we develop the value chains in order to grow this industry. Honorable Minister, when you launched when the ministry commissioned the national creative industry strategy, we came up with 10 pillars. And for strategic intervention across those 10 pillars that were identified, they are all deployed in the music sector. Because it will be pointless to do a strategy that doesn't fill in the national strategy. And for greater effectiveness in achieving the strategy, vision, and mission, we identified 4 key pillars that are priority. The other 6, they are still important, but we have prioritized 4. Pillar number 1, music markets and business development, is to increase access to local and regional and international markets. Proposed interventions is to strengthen the capacity to produce high quality music and the ability to effectively distribute music locally, regionally, internationally, especially via multimedia and digital landscape. We think it's important that together we can achieve those things. If we work independently, we'll be doing small things in silos. Number 2 pillar is intellectual property. To enhance the protection of intellectual property and related rights and right collection in the music sector. Proposed intervention is to develop, adapt, publish, and disseminate guidelines on collecting mechanisms of music rights in Zimbabwe. We all know that the issue of rights in this country has been a thorn, and challenges that the one and only collecting society, Zimura, has been facing over years. Honorable Minister, you know, you've been indicted with a lot of problems and challenges. We think, and this is coming from the sector, and therefore a relook into the issues of IP is also very important. Not just locally, but also if we empowered our artists enough when they start putting their music online, do they know what it means about the rights? By the way, when you look at the situation analysis, you'll discover that in Zimbabwe, a lot of people are consuming music via WhatsApp. And we know how much money you can get from WhatsApp. The 3rd pillar, funding, financing, and investment. Honorable Minister, in your ministry, in your portfolio, you also have a bank, Honorable Minister. And we desire, the cry from the sector is that the bank that is under your purview should be one of the leading banks in trying to support the CCIs. Having a conversation around how to fund the CCI, and then it becomes the leading bank in also making money out of the CCI. At the moment, no banks wants to support the sector. So how can the sector effectively build to Vision 2020, 2030 and NDS 1 when just supporting the sector, even with loans, it's not happening? So pillar number 3 talks to that. So government to provide funding for capital investments and grants in the music sector with particular attention to investment that improve digital opportunities. The government will consider a funding quota also for female-led initiatives. We are very grateful of the 100 million that the government set aside for the ADF, the Arts Development Fund. We are still looking forward that when it comes through, it should be able to support some of these initiatives. Pillar number 5, education, capacity building, and training. We acknowledge that training is very important. So to provide adequate training in music, business skills, not just in music, not just in singing, not just in staff notation. We think it is time we have courses that talk about business in music. The other pillars, pillar number 5 will be music infrastructure, pillar number 6, cultural statistics and research, pillar number 7, media, information and communication technology, pillar number 8, cultural diplomacy and global businesses, pillar number 9, cultural governance, pillar number 10, safeguarding cultural heritage, identity, and celebrating our diversity. Stakeholders for the successful implementation of the strategy. I will go to the matrix where all of them are captured. Honorable Minister and ladies and gentlemen, our music strategy has an implementation matrix. And the chair of the board of the National Arts Council made a passionate plea that if the sector can just own, we'll make this a living document. When we own it, we'll find that all of us are captured in the matrix. Let's look at the matrix and let things move. So each pillar we have suggested, the list is not exhaustive, Chair, and you'll deliberately ensure that out of the key stakeholders, we are not putting the ministry, we are not putting the National Arts Council, because we are by virtue the ones that are creating the environment for that to happen. So these are our stakeholders to ensure that this happen. So in the document, the names are actually written in full. So when you see abbreviations here, it's purely for us to be able to capture. So we have almost all ministries taking part, and Minister of Finance, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Primary and Secondary Education, Higher and Tertiary, Minister of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage, a lot of ministries of ICT, and artists themselves, and also banking institutions there, and other agencies of government. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We at National Arts Council and as government, we're excited about what has happened. I was talking to some members of the national team. You know, it's like finally we are here. And we think the document, the strategy, it's time we make it live. We thank the EU, we thank UNESCO for supporting us, and much more the parent ministry for allowing us and giving us resources to move with this. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please let's give a round of applause to Mr. Nicholas Moyo, the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe Director, for those wonderful words. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, please allow me just to speedily go through our program And we'll be calling upon some of our partners that have made this strategy a success, and they'll be delivering their solidarity messages to us this morning. Please allow me, just before I call upon them, just to greet a very special group of people that are here with us as well. The Arts Journalists Association of Zimbabwe, AJAZ, who are the custodians when it comes to making sure that your music is played or written about in our lovely country. So thank you so much to the AJAZ members that are here present. Right, please allow me to call upon at this juncture, representing the Regional Director for Southern Africa, UNESCO, Lydia Arthur Brito, Mr. Francisco Gomez. Please let's give him a round of applause as he comes through to deliver his message. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Christy Coventry, Minister of Youth, Sport, Arts and Recreation, Deputy Minister, Honorable Tino Machakairi, Dr. Tokosile Chitepo, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Youth, Sports, Arts and Recreation, Deputy Chairperson of the NACZ Board, Marcus Gora, Mr. Nicholas Moyo, Director of the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe, Mr. Timo Olkonen, Head of the Delegation of the European Commission, Ms. Jarry Camara and Mr. Farai Mfunya, members of the EU UNESCO Expert Facility, members of the National Drafting Team, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, a very good morning to you all. On behalf of Dr. Lydia Brito, Director of the UNESCO Regional Office for Southern Africa, who sends her apologies for not being able to attend this event today, let me start by thanking the National Arts Council and the Ministry of Youth, Sport, Arts and Recreation for organizing the launch of the National Music Strategy of Zimbabwe 2022-2027. As set out in the UNESCO report, Reshaping Cultural Policies for Creativity, Addressing Culture as a Public Good, launched in February last, culture and creativity account for 3.1% of global GDP and 6.2% of all employment. Exports of cultural goods and services doubled in value from 2005 to reach over $380 billion in 2019. Besides being one of the youngest and fastest growing economic sectors in the world, new and ongoing challenges also make the creative economy one of the most vulnerable sectors that is often overlooked by public and private investment. The cultural and creative sectors were among the hardest hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, with over 10 million jobs lost in 2020 alone. Although culture is a major employer of women, gender equality is still a distant prospect. Furthermore, disparities between developed and developing countries are significant, with developing countries leading trade of cultural goods and services accounting for 95% of total exports of cultural services. Despite these challenges, the cultural and creative industries have become essential for inclusive economic growth, reducing inequalities, and achieving the goals set out in the 2030 Developing Agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, the process of elaborating the National Music Strategy of Zimbabwe 2022-2027 was supported by the European Union through the capacity building program supporting new regulatory frameworks to strengthen the cultural and creative industries and promote South-South cooperation, where Zimbabwe is one of the 12 beneficiaries. I wish to extend my sincere gratitude to the European Union for supporting the elaboration of this strategy. The European Union has been supporting our efforts to foster the development of cultural and creative industries in the region and in Zimbabwe in particular. This strategy, which seeks to create a robust, adaptive, creative, and more importantly, economically sustainable music sector in Zimbabwe, is the result of a collaborative effort between the government of Zimbabwe and local civil society organizations. At UNESCO, We believe that if implemented well, this strategy will help the music sector operate efficiently and profitably in national, regional, and global markets. The project provided expertise and peer-to-peer learning opportunities with fellow public officials in partner countries, thus contributing to the creation of international South-South networks of creativity. One of the most interesting aspects of this project was precisely the opportunity to engage the participating countries in peer-to-peer learning processes, in which they were able to share their experiences and knowledge in the development and implementation of public policies for the promotion of cultural and creative industries in their respective countries. In this context, as highlighted by Mr. Moyo, Zimbabwe was not only benefited from exchanges from counterparts from Nigeria and South Africa, but was also able to share its experience with countries such as Namibia and Uganda. I understand that the task would have not been complete without the effort of Ms. Camara and Mr. Mfunya, member of the EU UNESCO Expert Facility, and the members of the National Drafting Team. I would like to congratulate them, as well as the National Arts Council and the government of Zimbabwe for facilitating the drafting and validation process of this strategy. I thank you all.
One more time, a round of applause for Mr. Francisco Gomez, representing Madam Lydia Alberto from the regional who's the regional director for Southern Africa UNESCO. Allow me at this juncture to introduce online one of the experts that was assigned to work with us on this particular strategy, coming all the way from Burkina Faso, Yari Kamara. Let's take a look at our screens and hear Yari's message.
Honorable Minister of Youth, Sports, Arts and Recreation, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Yari Kamara. I'm a cultural policy expert based in Burkina Faso. Along with Fry Mfunya, I have been accompanying the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe in the process of developing its national music sector strategy. I'm terribly sorry not to be in the room with you, neither physically nor virtually. I'm actually on a plane right now to Senegal. So this is an exciting time, launching a strategy whose process and journey has been almost as exciting as the outcome. We started with ensuring the evidence base through a lot of interviews, focus groups, desk research, and once we were satisfied that we had a pretty clear snapshot of where the sector stood, then we went about looking for solutions. And for that, we had the UNESCO facilitated peer-to-peer exchange mechanism, which allowed us to reach out to music sector players from Nigeria and South Africa who generously gave their time, of their expertise, of their insights into today's fast-shifting music industry. The national team, a national team drawing on a wide range of players from the music sector in Zimbabwe, were the ones who drafted the actual strategy. The strategy that you're launching today is called on to be a living document. The music sector, like a lot of CCI sectors, has several intersections with other departments, with other sectors, such as tourism, export promotion, trade, and industry. So it's not just direct music industry players that are being called on to engage with the strategy to make it theirs, but also the sectors related that have intersections with music. Engage with the strategy, track its implementation, correct it when necessary. The music industry is a fast-changing one today, and globally, the fulcrum is swinging towards Africa. So this is a particularly exciting time to be launching one of Africa's first specific strategies for the music sector. Congratulations to all involved in the process, and best of luck for rolling out the strategy and making its goals and aspirations a reality. Thank you.
Many thanks there to Madam Yari Kamara, all the way in Burkina Faso, giving us her solidarity speech there. At this juncture, please allow me to introduce the chairperson for the Association of Independent Record Companies of South Africa, Mandla Masego. Let's give Mandla a round of applause.
My name is Mandla Masego. I'm the chairperson of the Association of Independent Record Companies in South Africa. A few months ago, we were grateful and honored to be identified as one of the important role players of the music industry and used as the association as a case study for the development of Zimbabwe music industry strategy. We remain grateful to the leadership of government as well as the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe. We hope and believe that our thoughts, our ideas, our knowledge contributed ideally in us and yourself recognizing the importance of the independent record companies in the entire landscape of music and the entire music industry ecosystem. Therefore, today we congratulate yourselves for reaching this milestone of launching this strategy. We hope and believe that this strategy will benefit both. The music industry has united us as the SADC region, and it is important for us then to keep this loop to ensure that in Zimbabwe as well, the music industry thrives, because that expands the market in our own region. Therefore, we congratulate the National Arts Council that the launch goes well, but this is just the beginning of our engagement. We remain.
Our apologies for the short cut transmission there, but that was the solidarity message coming through from the chairperson of the Association of Independent Record Companies of South Africa, Mr. Mandla Masego. Now representing Zimbabwean artists, please let me call upon Nutty O to give us and deliberate on the sentiments from the musicians. Nutty O. Let's give him a round of applause as he makes his way to the podium.
How are you? Yeah, it's an honor to be standing in front of you, to have this platform to actually be able to speak. I'm a musician, so my sentiments are going to be as direct as they can be, because I believe this is a music strategy. So, Honorable Minister Kester Coventry, Deputy Honorable Minister Tinoma Chakai, and all other protocols observed, I greet you. My name is Nutty. I'm a Zimbabwean musician. So, Mr. Moyo kind of preempted everything I wanted to say here. I want to commend the National Arts Council and the Ministry for putting up this kind of an initiative. To me, this is like a workshop, because I'm here as a musician, I'm actually having an insight of exactly how we can tackle the challenges that we're facing in our music as Zimbabwean artists. So I commend the Ministry and the Arts Council for doing this, because for the longest time, I believe our creatives have been doing a lot of these things on their own without your intervention to this level. So this conversation, this gathering, this meeting kind of brings the right intensity we need towards the right direction. Like it was previously said, the momentum is heading towards Africa now. And I believe we as musicians from this side must be equipped and we must be ready to tackle, we must be ready to handle what is coming our way so that we don't get to be lagging in all of these things. Because I believe our industry as Zimbabweans, we have been lagging in a lot of ways. Which brings me to this notion that before we do all of these things, the best thing to do is to induce the ones who are involved in this. What are we talking about? Do we really understand what we are talking about? I'm speaking on behalf of the musicians. Do we all understand the dynamics involved in the music? Because it's not only the music, but it's the dynamics that surround the music. There's a lot of administration and a lot of things that happen around the music that will actually enable the music to go far. I have prospects to be an international artist. I will use myself as an example. I've had the biggest album in this country from last year. I've managed to collaborate with artists from Ghana, Stoneboy, arguably the biggest. I've managed to collaborate with Demarco from Jamaica, who's now based in New York. If you look at that, it's a cultural exchange twist. And I'm saying we need more of these to be able to tap into the right spaces so that we get to analyze and understand how other countries are doing it. I commend the ministry for facilitating the peer-to-peer initiative. We need to do more of that so that we get to understand how Ghana, how Nigeria has done it, how South Africa has done it. And I want to say this to the minister. The fact that we have this term, the music, it means the musician is important. But if the musician is stifled, if the musician is not motivated or empowered, this all dies down. We depend on the large part of the funding, because I've been analyzing the scene. Recently, in an article that was published by the Music in Africa Foundation, which I believe UNESCO is also participating in a lot of initiative with that program, you would still find that grants and funding from the ministry or the regulatory board, which is maybe the Arts Council, the government using that through the right ministry are the biggest. You would find the grants and the funding have 38% over live performances. So I'm saying, in this very time, this is a great initiative. We require the ministry, the government, to intervene with the practical strategies that will enable us to be better. Because the core motive of all of this is to better and strengthen our music industry and make sure we are eligible for the international market and all that concerns it. Those are my few words. Thank you.
Many thanks there to Nutty giving us his sentiments on behalf of all the musicians in Zimbabwe. Honorable Minister Nutty has really been dominating the arts, and rightfully so, being called upon to come and actually represent the musicians. I think he has dominated the NAMA Awards, the Zimmer Awards, and just recently the Styrofoam Awards, scooping all the top 5 top accolades. That's Album of the Year, Musician of the Year, Song of the Year, which really does speak to this strategy that we're looking at this morning. Right, and now, just before we call upon our Honorable Minister to come, we're going to have one piece of item of music from Feli Nandi. I'm just going to ask for one quick one because the Minister is needed somewhere really urgently. So I'm going to ask for just one piece of item of music and then we will continue. Let's give a round of applause to Feli Nandi. Now she's just recently launched. All right. Here we go.
cheche ndaita mutete mundicheretedze mundiregerere mundireverere mundivari kure zvinondiwisira pasi chindunuma zvinondidzingaidza kutonzerana kutambidzana kukakadza zvinondiwisira pasi chindunuma zvinondidzingaidza kutonzerana kutambidzana kukakadza Doda iswiri no waka Doda iswiri upenyu Doda iswiri remakwaro Doda iswiri kana Doda iswiri no waka Doda iswiri upenyu Doda iswiri remakwaro Chakananga nija gaiba 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 Saru tsaiwe Mama ya mangu mwana Hondo 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 Mama ya mangu mwana Hondo, 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 Hondo,
One of the most arguably best vocalists that we have in Zimbabwe right now. She just recently launched her album Izwi, and that is the title track right there. Challenge to my dear brother, the National Director for National Arts Council. Yeah, for all those lovely galas we have. Can we have more of these young artists being pushed in? I hope this strategy is speaking to that we had. We need more of these ones coming up and being given a lovely space. Right, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to welcome onto the podium a mother, a businesswoman, an amazing multiple record holder and Olympian. She sits on the International Olympics Committee. She is a champion for the youth, sports, arts, and culture. One of the most difficult ministries to run because there's three very large components that individually just require a lot of attention on their own. And I can only imagine how she actually runs each day because, hey, I think she needs 3 people in one just to run this particular ministry. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please allow me to welcome onto the podium our Minister of Youth, Sports, Arts and Recreation, Honorable Kirsty Coventry. Let's give her a round of applause as she comes through. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Please be seated. To our Director of Ceremonies, Zazalicious, or should I say Ambassador? I'm not forgetting. I remember the President did say, once you've finished your school, come back and he's going to be looking at an ambassadorial role for Zaza. So we're very excited. And don't worry, I'll keep reminding him. Thank you for the warm welcome. It's really my pleasure to be here. And Zaza, I have a good team around me, including my Deputy Minister, Honorable Machakere, who the two of us are kept busy every day, all day. But we wouldn't have it any other way. The Regional Director, UNESCO Rosa, represented by Mr. Gomez, our Head of Delegation of the EU, represented, I think, by Ms. Tiputi, is that correct? I think. The Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Youth, Sport, Art and Recreation, Dr. Chitepo, represented here by our Director of Arts, Director Samwanda, the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe, represented by the Vice Chair, Marcus Gora, and all board members, the Director of the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe, Mr. Nicholas Moyo, our UNESCO experts that I believe are joining us online, Yari and Farai, thank you for the hard work. Our artists and cultural practitioners here present, the media fraternity, ladies and gentlemen. It really is an honor for me to be here with all of you today. And I was just looking at our program and looking at the strategy, and I had the director of the National Arts Council come and present it to me a couple weeks ago. And a few things that really stood out for me when we're looking at the strategy, the vision, when it's talking about vibrant, local, and locally anchored. For me, those words really stood out. And I hope that this strategy will be anchored with all of you. Because as we heard from Nutty, if it's not taken ownership by you, by the artists, by the music fraternity, it isn't going to go anywhere. So we need it anchored with you. And we need it anchored with you so that it can be internationally connected. When we looked at the objectives, some of the words that stood out for me was supporting enabling environments. For me, that's where the ministry, that's where the National Arts Council, that is our job. We have to create enabling environments for all of you to succeed. To optimize everything, revenue, to optimize a greater understanding, to optimize the environment, to optimize everything that will allow for you to be successful within the music industry. Ensure reliability. I know it says ensure reliable and profitable, but for me, to ensure reliability of ourselves so that you are confident in what you're doing and you don't have to worry about, as the director had said, giving away your CDs. You know that you can ensure a reliability, sustainable music industry. And building capacities. This one, I think it's for all of us. How do we build capacities? How does ministry ensure that we're building your capacity? How do you as artists build your own capacity? How does the music industry build capacities in the entirety of the music industry, not just as individuals, but collectively? So, as has already been said, today is marking an important milestone for the history of Zimbabwe music sector, and that's what we've all gathered here to do today. It's to launch the Zimbabwe music strategy. The crafting, as has already been explained, was done over the last 2 years. COVID put a bit of spanner in the works for it happening sooner, but we're all here and we're grateful. I'd like to really thank our experts, Yari and Farai, with the help of UNESCO and Raso, in being able to really bring together this team to help us be led down this path of being able to have a successful document at the end of the day that we're all proud of. As has already been said, the different policies that have been developed by the ministry with the National Arts Council or the CCI strategies, these are really holistic overviews of being able to bring everyone together of what we want to see. Where do we want to be in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years? And now it's about implementation. How are we going to implement? What does that look like? What help do we need from ministry, from Arts Council, in order to ensure that the implementation over the next 5 years is a success? We know that the music sector faces different challenges, and we believe, and I've gone through the strategy, that this strategy is talking to solving and coming up with our own solutions to ensure that these problems are not just fixed, but have a sustainable solution in the way we move forward. I'm really confident that the strategy is going to work in transforming the music sector into a global powerhouse. We have an extraordinary amount of talent, and this strategy, I hope, will add value to the talent that we have. And not only that, I hope that it allows for us to create that enabling environment to have the world recognize our talent and our talented music artists. The creation and adoption of this document, as has been said by the speakers before me, cannot bear any fruit overnight. And it is a holistic approach that will need all players in the music industry to come together and help us to implement in order to really, truly be successful. I'm looking forward to the next 5 years, to be able to, in 5 years' time, look back, see where we were, see where it all started, and hopefully be able to tick a number of boxes of successes that we have had in turning our music industry of Zimbabwe into a regional, continental, and international phenomenon that I know that is capable of. Again, thank you to everybody, to the national team, to all of the members, to our experts, to our development partners, to our National Arts Council and Board, and to all of the music industry players and stakeholders. Thank you for your involvement. Thank you for your commitment to drive this sector forward and formalize it to be the powerhouse that I know it is and will be in the future, and really looking forward to the future successes of the music sector. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was our Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, before you run away, we would like to make a presentation to you. Maybe if I can ask you to just stand right in the center on the stage, right there. Fantastic, because we would like people to see, and I'm going to hand over the microphone. We have a special presentation coming through from the board and staff of the National Arts Council.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to present the book so that it's declared officially launched. Yes.
Perfect.
One for you.
Or we can. What do you want us to do? It's officially launched. Yes.
Sorry, we didn't have a long enough ribbon to cut on this one. But for you is a gift from the National Arts Council and on behalf of the board. It's an artwork from a young female artist called Miriro Mwandiambira. It's about the power of women.
Awesome. Girls on top. Girl power. Women power. Thank you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please let's give a round of applause to our Honorable Minister, Dr. Kirsty Coventry, Minister of Youth, Sports, Arts and Recreation. You may kindly take your seats. At this juncture, please allow me to call upon Nutty O to please come and give us a musical piece of music. Nutty O, let's give him a round of applause as he comes through to give us his musical piece of music. Thank you.
Hear me when I say this. Open the lock for me. Yeah. How are we doing? They tell them, Pandicha Buddha Nase, Kurai Musu Jaja. See, Pandicha Famba Nase, Chicha Famba Jakanaka. Cause I have a family, Wakawanda to feed. They say, no temba nini. They know that mercy and your blessings. In the no temba me. I say, open doors, open doors, open the doors for me. Open doors, open doors, open the lock for me. I open doors, open doors. Open doors, open doors, open the lock for me. They chachaga when me stepping out, and then they chawana when me take the road. Cause the devil is a liar, you can't check me down. Go back on a judge and they chawana simba. Mumunda mango, they chawana something, yangu jinuziri dry. Bandino from Bams and they see you never let me go. Babandino da kukuna mashingo and Jericho. Pandicha Buddha Nase, Furai Musu Jaja. Pandicha Famba Nase, Chicha Famba Jakanaka. Cause I have a family Wakawanda to feed. And they know that mercy and your blessings in the no temba me. I say, open doors, open doors. See, open doors, open doors. Me tell them, open doors, open doors. Mone waruda kuvurua matozere, music industry strategy fire. See, hot and stand we are again, looking forward to a brighter day. Diamond the candida man again, bang pull up, money go pile again, we go fly again. Panicha Buddha Nase. Me tell them, Panicha Famba Nasi, Zicha Famba Jakanaka. Cause I have a family Wakawanda to feed. They say no temba nini. They know that mercy and your blessings in the no temba me. I say, open doors, open doors. See, open doors, open doors. Me tell them, open doors, open doors. See, open doors, open doors, open the doors. Yes. You know, as a musician, this is my greatest prayer, that in all of these endeavors that we're doing, yes, we might think, we might plan, we might strategize, but it's all centralized on the Most High God. So I say, can God open the doors for us as an industry so that whatever we seek, whatever we require, whatever we desire comes to pass. That's basically the message behind this song. That's why I started with this song. And I believe each and everybody of y'all, you have your targets, you have your goals, and you want doors to be opened in some instance, right? Yeah. Skid song. So this one goes out to every trying individual, everybody who's pushing forward for a cause. See, no obstacle could have come get me done. Kwandamba couldn't look how far when me go. High is the only road. No obstacle could have come get me done. Kwandamba couldn't let you quit on my combo. High is the only road. All I couldn't live. Everybody sing. Denge ni chingo wa baya baya. And the better power. Denge ni chingo wa baya baya. Anyone know what a baya baya. And the better power. See, and the better power. Been to the fire. And the better power. Never pin the pressure, but I is the pressure. Ishe wangu wakandita kutendive special. Atifana nepa level, that's the education. Wangu ndiri treasure, da biko under pressure. Da ka polish kwa kutindita better. Da chinja generation, ukaramba uri heta. Uno da revelation, uneje no kuneta. Handine simbare mucheche kika heba. Tiri seni no ziramba. Masiki ishe namba muchimaranga. Makombonero wangu muchimapama. I pray for elevation, man on the two mina mamepo I say back to sender. Denge ni chingo wa baya. Neni wano wana baya. And the better power. Denge ni chingo wa baya. Neni wano wana baya. And the better power. And the better power. Been to the fire. And the better power. And the better power. And the better power. Been to the fire. And the better power. So we tell him again. Yeah. No obstacle could have come to me done. Pandamba couldn't get you quit on my combo. Hona couldn't live. No obstacle could have come to me done. Pandamba couldn't get you quit on my combo. High is the one you roll. So we sing, so we tell him, Denge di chingo wa baya. Denge wana baya. And the better power. Denge di chingo wa baya. Denge wana baya. And the better power. And the better power. Been to the fire. And the better power. And the better power. And the better power. Been to the fire. And the better power. And the better power.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nutty. Thank you so much, my darling.
Thank you, Zaz.
The multiple award winner, Nutty, they're giving us a piece of music right there. Hanzi and the Pere Power. And for sure, this particular strategy is not going to end our power. It's actually going to increase the music industry power, isn't it? All right, now as we draw to a close, please allow me to call upon another legend in the music industry, right here in Zimbabwe. He is an amazing musician, producer, award winner per excellence. We love him in the music industry. Mr. Mono Mukundu, please let's give him a round of applause as he comes through to give us our vote of thanks. As he comes through, there we go, Mr. Mono Mukundu.
Thank you, Zaza, for such a warm welcome. It gives me great pleasure to note that we've come to the realization that talent is not enough to survive in the music industry, and the strategy is everything. Without talent, you just end up poor and famous and bitter. I actually wrote a book called Poor and Famous, and that's the reason why our industry was called an institution for vagabonds in Shona industry, Marombe. And I remember my own father, he tried by all means to stop me from entering the music industry. I was given corporal punishment every time he saw me holding a guitar, until he told me, you know what, I've given up. You still want to carry on with your industry, Marombe. So if anything goes wrong, don't call me. And I promised him that I will never, ever call him. But the problem is I impregnated my girlfriend. I had no money. So I had to call him. I had to swallow my pride. The reason why I had no money is because I did not have a strategy. So it gives me great pleasure to note that our government, our ministers, the National Arts Council, and everybody has come together to strategize. And I'm so happy on Friday, the 12th of October, 2001, my own father called me and he said, you know what, you've proved that this profession of yours can be a proper industry. Because I now had strategy. That time I was at the College of Music together with Dr. Chigwanda, who is now the director of College of Music. So having said that, I would like to say on behalf of the music industry, we are so honored to have you, Honorable Minister, Dr. Kesti Coventry, together with Deputy Minister Machakaire. We have seen you do a lot of great work in uplifting the music industry. We thank you very much for that. And we would also like to extend our thanks, our gratitude to the Director of the National Arts Council, Mr. Nicholas Moyo, and the Deputy Director, Mr. Kusena, and everybody else, as well as the Deputy Chairman of the National Arts Council, Mr. Marcus Gora, Mr. Gomez from UNESCO, delegation from EU Commission, Dr. Samwanda, the Director of Arts and Culture in the Ministry. I would also like to acknowledge members from my fraternity, people like Emerson Jr. Thank you for being around. Emerson Jr. V. Mofu, Nutty O, Tendai Mavengeni, Feli Nandi, Mr. OK Machisa, as well as Davis Guja, and everybody else who have skipped, as well as Melody Zambuko from Music Crossroads. So that's all, and I'll leave it back to Zazalicious. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please let's give a round of applause to the legend, Mr. Mono Mukundu. All right, at this juncture, we have come to the close of our program. I'm not too sure if Feli Nandi is still around. Right, Feli Nandi, if you could please come back on stage and give us a piece of music. And at this juncture, we would like to say thank you so much to everyone for coming through. You heard it. The Zimbabwe music strategy has officially been launched. Please make sure that before you leave, you get a copy of the strategy. We do have it for you for distribution, all the media houses and all the musicians. Please make sure you get a copy, study it, have a look at it, interact with it. It is our strategy for us as musicians and stakeholders in the industry. All right, I hear I've got some instructions. All right, now soon after Feli Nandi's performance, we do have refreshments that will be available for us. Okay, apparently it's during the performance. Refreshments will be available for everyone just outside by the foyer. Please allow us to let the Honorable Minister leave with her delegation. Thank you so much. We do release you and we thank you. My name is Zandile Ndlovu, the Zazalicious one, the African Queen. Umagajeni Indlofete Council Lucy. Ogobobenyati Umafotloza is the city was. It is the Zimbabwe music strategy officially launched. Was a winner. Some music. Thank you so much.